It's week number 9, and that means that you have 7 more weeks until the fantasy football playoffs to be played rotisserie.
Wow. It's the second half of the season, so everybody who was on the cusp, that was right on the fringe of taking over your division or having hopes of it even making the playoffs, this is the time to make the power moves and the change.
It's week number 9, and that means that you have 7 more weeks until the fantasy football playoffs to be played rotisserie.
Wow. It's the second half of the season, so everybody who was on the cusp, that was right on the fringe of taking over your division or having hopes of it even making the playoffs, this is the time to make the power moves and the changes in your offense. You've seen the whole first half of what everybody's going to do. Now we're going to give you the closers, the ones that go through that's going to give you those added points upon their availability.
That's why you watch this TV show.
We know what we're talking about.
Sometimes.
check the history.
Check the record, right?
Yeah, we're more right than wrong.
There you go. I'm Vince J.
I'm B. Scott.
And let's get it started right now. I'm going to start with my quarterbacks. Quarterbacks that I've got this week. I'm going Chad Pennington, Jay Cutler, Trent Edwards, Eli Manning, Matt Ryan. I'm sorry, I just said Ryan.
Matt Ryan. I mean, those are the usual suspects. You threw a couple what I would call sleepers in there, but they performed all week. They've been performing up and down, consistently inconsistent throughout the season for the most part. But the most surprising one to me out of that list would definitely be Chad Pennington, who's definitely showing, like we were talking before the show, is that they got the better end of that deal.
I totally agree about that. I mean, you got to think that Tuna had picked him, as one of the top 4 guys that he had in the first round back in when that was Flintstone days, it seems like now,
right,
when he was with the Jets. And when they brought him down, this guy has been consistent the whole time.
Yeah. Flip up the entire NFL, confuse everybody with throwing a high school, college offensive scheme in there, fooling a few folks, and now you've got Ronnie Brown playing a little quarterback too. But I definitely have to agree with you in reference to Chad Pennington.
I think Trent Edwards is another guy that might be a little bit on a sleeper. He's kind of teeter-tottering on that sleeper fence right there, but this guy has really been doing his thing. He'd been hurt a couple of weeks. But when he came back, this guy was really showing that he knows what he's doing.
The Buffalo Scouts agree with you with Trent Edwards as a perfect prelude into the list that I actually have this week, because he's definitely on my list of quarterbacks, along with Kurt Warner and, of course, my favorite, Kyle Orton. Remember, we made a fantasy football first last year, picking him up on his bye week. I'm sticking behind Kyle Orton. He's just convinced me that he's going to do the job in Chicago. Also pick up David Garrard playing against Cincinnati, and Mark Bulger, because that shootout that's going to happen between Arizona and St. Louis.
I don't really like that David Garrard thing, though.
He's playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, but still, I don't think I really like that.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Whatever.
He's playing Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati does have some challenges, especially on the defense.
They don't have challenges. They got problems. Can you tell me where my help wanted sign is? I've been looking at it since week 2. Cincinnati, help wanted. Are the jobs available? The election's almost over. Someone's got to be hired in Cincinnati.
Oh, my gosh.
Book me a flight.
Ohio was one of those swing states, right?
The swing state, but it ain't swinging Cincinnati's way.
Yeah, I can kind of say that. The running backs I have this week is Ronnie Brown, Steven Jackson, Chris Johnson, Willis McGahee, and Marion Barber.
Yeah. Well, my Forrest Gump run group right now going for this week. I'm going to go with the usual suspects. Why not? Yeah. Let's start with Matt Forte in Chicago. Brian Westbrook, welcome back. What about
yeah, it's about time. He really had a great week last week. This guy went, he had 2 touchdowns?
Right. 81 yards rushing, 51 yards receiving. he just, against a not so bad Atlanta team who's been playing some pretty good football, they just got caught sleeping this week. And Donovan McNabb just picked them apart.
Yeah, it was about time for him, because I had him on my team. I really wish I had Kurt Warner instead, but this week I think the Philly's going to have an opportunity, so we'll see how that works.
I also picked up Ernest Graham playing against Kansas City. Why? Because it's obvious. And Michael the Turner Burner against Oakland. The Turner Burner. Yeah. And then we're going to go with the, of course, AP. Adrian Peterson, a great game. He's going to have an opportunity to play against Houston.
Moving on, my wide receivers I've got. Roddy White. He is playing Dante Hall, former Atlanta Falcon.
I think it's more personal. It's more personal for Dante Hall than it is for Roddy Brown. Roddy White is playing. He's going to play the game, but we were talking about this earlier as well, and you were talking about this is going to be a lottery, a pick six.
It's
so
definitely
an opportunity for that. So I mean, so are we going to go as far as picking up the Raiders' defense possibilities for this?
No, I still wouldn't go with that, but I do think that the pick six could help with that defense. I mean, I'm putting it out there that Dante Hall is looking. He is chomping at the bit for that one. Yeah. Ryan hangs one that direction. It's going to the house. Brandon Marshall, Anquan Bolden, Eddie Royal, and Deshaun Jackson.
Okay, the wide receivers. I mean, the all-hands team that I'm looking at this week. Definitely got to throw Lee Evans in Buffalo. Playing against the Jets. Always seem to be some opportunities running the game there. Go with Larry Fitzgerald. Why? Because he's Larry Fitzgerald. And Kurt Warner's throwing the ball to him. Also want to look at Greg Jennings in the game at Green Bay. Playing against Tennessee. Opportunities there because of what Tennessee has shown us. Want to go with Santana Moss because he seems like he's on fire. Opportunities against Pittsburgh, he's going to be running around. Him and Randall L going back and forth. Santana Moss is stepping up, definitely stepping up, showing that he can do this. And my sleeper of the week, I'm going to throw the sleeper in there, which is going to be Ted Ginn because Ronnie Brown's versatility. Probably going to throw him that touchdown pass.
That's right.
You know, Calvin Johnson, Danny O. I mean, he has nobody else to throw to now. Now that Roy Williams is gone.
Yeah.
And Calvin Johnson has definitely stepped up and showed that, hey, since he's gone, throw me the ball.
Since you're saying throwing the ball, what about Dante Culpepper? They called the retirement home for this guy.
Wow. He interrupted his checker game to come in after turning down Kansas City. Who does he think he is? There aren't that many options out there, so you'd rather stay retired than play football. That's like saying, in this bad economy, I'd rather not have a job than work for minimum wage.
Oh my gosh! Now, I mean, have you voted yet?
Absolutely.
Okay, because man, where you going with this? The economy? He's talking about voting and.
Well, you know what? I'm caught up in the politics. We're making history this year, and I think in this election is going to be a history-making year. And of course, no questions about it. This is not a fantasy. This is reality. Barack Obama.
Okay, then I'm gonna bring us back to the fantasy world. My tight ends this week: Owen Daniels, David Martin, Jason Witten, and Dallas Clark.
My tight ends are just that, tight ends. It's a very tight group. I've only picked up 3 names this week. In addition to the guys that Vince mentioned, yeah, there's some opportunities there, but the ones that's only been doing the real offensive production for their teams this year, it's definitely got to be Tony Gonzalez, the epitome of consistency, Bo Scaife in Tennessee, who's been doing his numbers, and also going to throw in Greg Nelson in Chicago because Kyle Orton likes him.
Yeah.
And then any more time that we spending on tight ends, I mean, there's more. There's 32 teams in the league, and we sit here and talk about 5 tight ends that you can talk about that probably caught 6 passes between them.
Yeah, you're talking about pennies on the dollar if you're talking about points. I mean, 5 points, 3 points. My kickers were picking up more points than some of these tight ends. So you're right. I'm just gonna throw that one out of there. Okay. Defenses. I'm gonna take the Tennessee defense this week. Okay, the Giants as well. I really am liking the Giants. Of course, I like the Steelers because that's my heart. And who else can I pick up? The Bears?
Why not? I mean, an obvious pick. I mean, they're playing Detroit.
Oh yeah, I will take the Bears. If that's the case.
Now you know I'm on the fence with the Tennessee game. I think that Tennessee's going to win it, but don't count out Green Bay. Mm-hmm. Green Bay is one of those teams that's kind of sneaky. And with the weapons that you got Donald Driver, you got Greg Jennings. And, you know, Rodgers every now and then in the big games, he's stepped up and showed that he can play.
He's really shown me that he can play this game.
So
really.
Tennessee, don't get too comfortable there because, hey, they can come to shock the world.
You know, they almost were shocked last week.
Absolutely.
You know, and by a team that really hadn't been doing anything the whole year. And this might be, I mean, if you would say anything, that Indian exposed them somewhat.
Yes, they did. They showed their weaknesses and opportunities of doing some things.
So now we can see if Green Bay was actually watching this game. Kickers I'm going to take this week, Ryan Longwell. I'm going to take Josh Brown and John Carney with the Giants.
Now for my Rockettes group, the 2020 guys, the high kickers. The guys out there of the drill team, kicking and watching the cheerleaders, and then coming in at the end of the game to win it all for you. You got to go with Steve Gostowski, David Akers, Roddy Gould in Chicago, and also Matt Bryan in Tampa Bay.
That kind of wraps it up for us. Just make sure that you tune to us every week. You can see us on iTunes. Just do a little search, put in there the Owner's Box, we'll pop up. You can also see us at our website, which is ownersbox at blogspot.com. Check the ticker right here. We've got plenty of other players that you can pick up And go to our website. We have some others that we'll drop in here from time to time. You can also drop us a line. And we will also be very soon on MySpace. So check us out next week. I'm Vince J.
I'm B. Scott.
And we will talk to you later from the Owner's Box.
Have a great week.